All right. Hopefully the last video you watched helped you create your Google Classroom. And you've hopefully created some assignments and some announcements and different things and tested out the different capabilities. You may or may not have added students to the class yet. But this video I'm going to show you where everything you create in Google Classroom goes and how it stores student data. So once you create your Google Classroom, in your Google Drive, you will find a folder titled Classroom. And if you click on that, you'll see a folder for each of the Google Classrooms you've created. Within that folder, you will find the different documents that have been turned in by students. So there's been nothing turned in by you guys in computing in the one-on-one environment, so there's only one recording that I put in here myself. But if you go back and we look at my digital photography folder, which I used last school year, you'll see that each assignment is given its own individual folder. And in each folder, you'll see the student names. Now this was a test assignment, just to play around with, and the student tried it out and it worked perfectly. So then I went in and I actually used it for my final. And in Final Assessment Part 1, there's each student's assignment turned in. And I can go back and look at them. And it stores them in your drive. And it organizes it for you. So you don't have to do what I did with my old classes, like I showed you when I had my business fundamentals and I had a folder created for each student and put all their work in it. You no longer have to do that. Google Classroom does it for you. Automatically organizes each assignment you create in your classroom. And it stores the student work for you. So again, when that student says, I turned that in, you can go to this and say, no you didn't. And no longer do we have to hassle kids about naming conventions because the assignment is automatically named for them by Google. So it saves us a ton of time and a ton of headache, and once the kids get the hang of it, it's super simple for them to use. So this is a great way for you to keep the class organized, especially for tests and different assignments. Now, one thing I wanted to touch on was that you can still use these assignments in Google Drive. So I have these, remember we talked about the old assignments, and in our classroom we can actually upload those old assignments. So if I go to my classes and I go to Business Fundamentals, and here's those assignments I showed you in the last video to create, I can add and create an assignment, and we'll just call this Fun. And the instructions will be get to work. But I have a Google Doc that I want to attach to it, and I want to use one of my old assignments. Well, if you click on this Drive icon, it automatically uploads your most recent items. But say I want to use one of my old assignments from 2015 or 14. I'm going to click on My Drive, and I'm going to look for that folder. And we'll go back to 2014, and we'll go to the Business Fundamentals folder in here. If we can find it, there it is. Open Business Fundamentals, and in here I've organized this based on chapter work and everything else, but I'm going to use an old assignment called the Twitter Challenge. So we're going to open that, we're going to add that document to this. Now, again, I can't tell you this enough. It is beneficial to always have a copy made for each student because it'll automatically name it for you. And then we click Assign. And in those easy steps, I've used an old document I created and created an assignment for students to do. And each student will get a copy. They'll all have to turn it in through there. And the steps they follow to turn things in are really, really simple. They click on the assignment, creates a document, it's automatically shared. When they're done, they click Turn In. So again, that's another great tool. Now, the final thing I want to touch on in this is that you don't have to use this for all assignments. I think sometimes when we start teaching a new technology thing, some teachers say, well, I don't want to use, I have to use it for everything. They get overwhelmed. I mean, it's best to be blended. So give students some assignments on paper. Be flexible. Have them turn some things in via email. Have them share different documents with you. Don't become too reliant, unless you really want to, on the Google Classroom. Use it when it's needed. I for one, am going to use it for journal writes and questions and testing. But a lot of the assignments I do aren't going to be turned in via the Google Classroom, simply because I like to do things the old way. And I know that for older teachers, they like paper assignments, or they get really set on getting things done one way, and that's fine. Don't feel pressure to change. Just know that this is a tool that will, extend your ability to be a great teacher in the future, and it's something that's very useful. So, enough about that, and we'll continue on the next video, and hopefully you'll learn a few more things about Google Classroom and why it's better than Haiku. All right, thank you.